then you probably want to use a more professional grade software like Maya or 3D Studio Max. Those are a bit on the pricey side. So these start from free for SketchUp or to thousands of dollars for the professional ones. You'd also need the professional ones if you want to create any custom animations and stuff like that as well too. And once you have all those imported into web.alive, that's when you can kind of play around and move the objects and paint different textures on the objects and all that kind of stuff. You want to create your lighting in the web.alive editor, scripting, also creating terrains as well too. So if you want a hilly environment, you can do that as well too. And that's all that put together creates the web.alive environment like you see before you right here. Is that kind of what you're looking for, Niket? You think that would help people, or do you want to poll other people?
Yes, thank you very much. I think so. And please do ask questions. I am sure, Walter, you don't mind we interrupting and everything, right? If there will be, I think we do.
No, I'm more than happy to answer any questions that pop up here.
During the session or after, please. Yes, that's what I was looking for. Thank you, Walter.
Perfect. And this is just a little follow-on. Like once you create the web.alive environment from the previous slide, everything feeds into the web.alive engine. So your levels, you play through the engine, and Unreal source code is compiled. There's also another product called Diamondware that was purchased, and it was integrated into that. That provides 3D spatial sound, so you actually hear voices coming from the direction where they are and all that kind of stuff. And any sounds in the environment, you actually hear them from the direction they're coming. So that was one nice feature that the web.alive environment has. And once all those things fit together, it's also some Flash stuff as well too if you want to do any customization on your avatars, change their clothes, appearance, that kind of stuff. And then finally on the right is what your final environment will look like once you have all that stuff put in place. All right, so let me just go back to where I left off. Okay, so like I mentioned, this is basically the carved out environment that shows this room, and it also imported the 3D models that I created in 3D Studio Max. So you see like some tables, chairs, lamps, that kind of stuff, bookcases, all that kind of stuff, little rails, that kind of thing. And this is where you also can put in lights. So if you can see, there's some light bulbs. Those don't actually appear like that once you run the level, but they're just kind of markers for where lights come from. So you can change all the different attributes of lights, like its color and how bright it is, all that kind of stuff in here as well too. Just go on to the next slide. Yeah, so basically just to apply texture onto a wall, all you have to do is right-click on it and basically tell it actually first you have to select the texture from your texture browser within the editor, and then you can apply it to any surface you want in there as well too. By right-clicking, and you can also rotate them and pan the textures, all that kind of stuff as well too. Importing models, I think I touched on this already as well too. So those are what we call the static meshes in the web.alive editor, and basically you need to export them as ASE from your modeling software. So that's the ASCII scene export, I believe is what it stands for, and then you can import them into the web.alive format USX, into a USX file. Like I mentioned, also when you're in the editor, you can just right-click and you'll have a menu that pops up. One of the things you can do is create a light. By default, Omni lights are created so they go in all directions. Then you can right-click on it to open its properties, and like I mentioned, brightness and color and all that kind of stuff. So if you notice from previous slides, there was about quite a few lights put in the environment to make it nice and bright, and a brightness of 32 was used there for that environment. You can also use special lit to illuminate light fixtures, because if you actually put in one of those lights inside a fixture, it won't be illuminated. It's kind of behind it, so that's another. Special lit is something you can use to kind of get around that. Spawn points. So this is one thing you need to get into the environment. So you can create your level, but if you don't have any spawn points, no one can get into it. So if you notice, where the spawn points are over by another building when you came into this environment. So you want to have a few of them. So if someone's standing in front of a spawn point, other people won't be able to get into the environment. So you want to have a few of them. So you don't want to put them too close to a wall. And for like a cafe or something like that, 12 spawn points was a reasonable number we chose there. Just a few miscellaneous notes about using the editor. The maps are saved as